Have you ever thought about why learning English feels so hard sometimes? You practice a little, then life gets busy, you want to improve, but then you feel stuck. And when you finally do practice, you wonder if it's enough. I know that feeling well, and I want you to know you're not alone. Learning English is a journey. And just like any journey, the most important thing is to keep moving, one small step at a time. That's why I believe in the power of daily habits. Imagine this. You spend just 10 minutes a day with English. That's it. 10 minutes. And those few minutes can add up faster than you ever thought possible. Maybe you read a short article, practice a new word, listen to a simple conversation, or even speak one sentence out loud. That tiny daily routine becomes part of your life, something you look forward to. And little by little, those minutes turn into progress. When I started my own language journey, I didn't begin with big goals like be fluent in 6 months. That felt too big, too far away. Instead, I decided to do something every single day, even if it was small, one sentence, one phrase, one new expression. And every time I showed up, I felt a tiny spark of pride. That pride gave me energy to do it again the next day. Over time, I realized my listening was sharper, my pronunciation was clearer, and my confidence, that was growing too. That's the power of small habits. They make language learning feel natural, not stressful. And here's my favorite part. When you make English a gentle part of your everyday life, you stop worrying so much about perfection. You focus instead on consistency, the steady rhythm of practice that carries you forward. Your small habits are like seeds, and every day you water them, they grow a little more. So if you're feeling uncertain or frustrated right now, please remember, you don't need to do everything at once. Start small, keep going, and trust that every tiny effort is bringing you closer to the confident speaker you want to become. That's the beauty of learning in this way. 10 minutes today, another 10 tomorrow, and one day you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. And so, as you embrace these small daily habits, something beautiful begins to happen. You stop seeing English as a difficult task, and you start seeing it as part of your everyday life. That's exactly what happened to me. In the beginning, those 10 minutes felt like a tiny commitment, but soon, they felt like my favorite part of the day. Every morning with my cup of coffee, I'd listen to a short English podcast, or I'd look up a new word and practice using it in a simple sentence. At first it felt strange. Some days my pronunciation wasn't great. Other days I forgot the new words by lunchtime, but none of that mattered. What mattered was showing up. And by showing up, I was telling myself, you can do this. That gentle promise to myself created a sense of momentum, and the more I kept my promise, the more my confidence grew. And let me tell you, confidence is like fuel. When you believe you can do something, you put in the effort. When you put in the effort, you improve. And when you improve, you believe in yourself even more. That's why small habits are so powerful. They help you believe in your own progress, and they give you proof, real proof, that you're moving forward. And here's another secret. You don't need to do everything perfectly. You just need to do something every day. And when you do, you slowly train your brain to see English as a friend, something familiar and welcoming. You'll begin to recognize words you never noticed before. Your ears will catch new phrases, and your mouth will feel more comfortable forming sentences. And all of this comes from those tiny habits, those short, regular sessions you fit into your day. So, if you're feeling like progress is slow, please don't give up. Keep that promise to yourself. Keep showing up, because every little practice session is like a drop of water, and drop by drop, you'll fill a river of learning that will carry you toward fluency. And that's something to feel proud of, even right now. Just by deciding to keep going, you're already succeeding. And as you move forward with these daily habits, you might start to notice something even more exciting. Your relationship with English begins to change. At first, you were focused on learning, but gradually you'll realize that you're using English. That's a big shift. When you wake up one morning and suddenly catch the meaning of a song lyric, or when you hear someone speak and you don't need to pause and translate in your head, those are the moments that matter most. And they happen sooner than you think. That's why it's so important to appreciate every small victory. Each time you recognize a new word in a conversation, each time you understand a joke in a movie scene, those are signs that all those tiny habits are paying off. And the most amazing part, this kind of progress feels natural. It's not about pushing yourself too hard or forcing every lesson. It's about surrounding yourself with English in a gentle, consistent way. And here's something I want you to remember. You never have to do this perfectly. You just have to do it often. That's where the real power lies. In repetition, not perfection. Every time you practice, your brain is making new connections. Every time you listen, read, speak, or even just think in English, you're becoming more comfortable. And as you grow more comfortable, your fear of making mistakes will naturally fade. You'll begin to feel less scared of sounding imperfect and more excited to see what you can say next. That's exactly what happened to me. I stopped worrying about perfect pronunciation, and I started caring more about sharing my thoughts, about telling my story. And when you shift your focus like that, English stops feeling like a school subject and becomes a bridge to people, places, and new ideas. That's the magic of these small daily habits. And I promise you, you'll look back one day and be amazed at how far you've come. Have you ever noticed that learning a language is a bit like making a new friend? At first, it can feel awkward. You don't know each other well. You're unsure what to say or how to say it. But as you spend more time together, you grow comfortable. You become more relaxed. And slowly, you start to trust yourself to speak, even if you stumble a bit along the way. That's exactly what happens when you build daily habits around English. By listening to a short podcast every morning, by reading one article or watching one video in the evening, you're creating a safe, welcoming space for the language in your life. And over time, English becomes less like a subject and more like an old friend you enjoy spending time with. That's when everything changes. You stop worrying so much about making mistakes, and you focus more on the message you want to share. Your brain, your ears, your mouth, they all begin to work together more smoothly. And as this happens, your confidence grows. That feeling of fear that once held you back, it slowly melts away. And before you know it, you find yourself trying new things, speaking up more often, writing in English without hesitation, even laughing at your own small errors because you see them as part of the process. That kind of progress is powerful, And it all begins with those small, consistent habits. So today, I encourage you to embrace this idea. You don't need huge, exhausting study sessions to improve. You just need a few minutes every day, filled with intention, curiosity, and kindness toward yourself. That's all it takes to stay on the path. And every time you come back to it, even if you take a break for a few days, you'll pick up right where you left off. That's the beauty of learning with daily habits. Every small step is a part of your journey, and every small step matters. And as you move forward, you'll begin to notice something very important. Those small daily habits don't just improve your English, they also help you grow as a person. Every time you practice a new phrase, every time you listen to a short video or repeat a sentence out loud, you're showing yourself that you can do something new, that you can take on a challenge and keep going. And that kind of commitment, even when it feels difficult, builds resilience. Resilience is that quiet inner strength that keeps you moving forward, no matter how long the road may seem. And it's resilience that will help you stay consistent even on the days you feel tired, even on the days you'd rather do something else. Because deep down, you'll remember that these small habits, these tiny choices to practice, are leading you toward a goal that matters to you. When you make English a part of your daily life, even if it's just 10 or 15 minutes, you stop thinking of it as something separate, something you have to do, and it slowly becomes a natural part of who you are. And there is real joy in that. There is real freedom, too. You'll wake up one day and realize that those words and phrases that once felt strange are starting to feel comfortable, as if they've been with you all along. You'll catch yourself humming an English song under your breath. You'll smile because you understand a joke in an English movie. You'll greet someone naturally and easily. No long pause, no fear, no hesitation. That is what these habits can give you. And if you're wondering where to begin, just remember, you can always start small. Pick one thing you enjoy, a podcast that you listen to while making your morning coffee, a short article you read on the bus, a few new words you write in a notebook before bed, and make that your habit. The magic is in the consistency. Day after day, you are creating a rhythm for your learning, a comfortable pattern that will grow stronger over time. And most importantly, you are proving to yourself that you can do this, that no matter what your starting point is, no matter what obstacles you face, you have the power to improve, step by step. And each step you take will inspire you to take the next one. Each small win will give you the courage to keep going. Each practice session will deepen your connection with the language and show you that English isn't just a skill, it's a bridge to new worlds, new friendships, new ideas. That's why these habits matter so much, and that's why I encourage you, starting today, to make them part of your everyday life. You deserve to experience the pride, the freedom, and the joy that come with finding your voice in English. And remember, you are never alone in this. Every learner who has come before you and every learner who will come after you shares the same fears, hopes, and dreams. And by staying on this path, you are becoming part of that global community, one small, brave practice at a time. And as you embrace this process, you'll begin to feel your confidence grow in ways that will surprise you. At first, it might be a quiet shift, a new word that feels easier to say, a phrase that naturally comes to mind, or a small conversation that you handle with more ease. And as these moments accumulate, you'll realize that they are not accidents. They are the results of your daily habits, your commitment, and your willingness to practice even when it felt hard. That's the power of consistency. It takes what was once unfamiliar and turns it into something you truly own. And this feeling is something you can hold on to. Every time you feel nervous or doubt yourself, you can look back at all those small steps you've already taken and remind yourself that you are capable, that you have already proven that you can do this. And once you recognize this progress, you begin to enjoy the process even more. You look for new opportunities to practice. You smile at the idea of reading a few sentences aloud. You get excited when you hear an English song on the radio. You appreciate the beauty of learning a new expression. And this is where your motivation truly begins to deepen. Because now, learning is not something you do out of obligation. It's something you do out of genuine interest, out of a sense of curiosity, out of a desire to grow. And that shift in mindset is powerful. It transforms your journey into one of discovery and joy. And when you feel that joy, you naturally want to keep going, not because someone tells you to, but because you can see and feel the progress yourself. And here's a little secret that experienced learners know well. Every skill that feels difficult at first eventually becomes easier. And every practice session that feels like an effort eventually becomes a habit. So when you face moments of doubt, try to remember that. Remind yourself that those feelings are temporary, but the skills you're developing last forever. And when you look back a few months or a year from now, you'll see how far you've come, not because you took giant leaps all at once, but because you kept showing up, kept believing in yourself, and kept moving forward one small, consistent step at a time. And that is the most important part of this whole process. That is the true power of daily habits. And that is what will carry you through the difficult days and guide you toward becoming the confident, fluent speaker you want to be. And as you continue this journey, it's important to recognize that progress rarely feels like a straight line. Some days you'll feel like you've learned so much. Your words flow easily, your pronunciation feels strong, and your confidence shines through. But there will also be days when you struggle to remember a simple phrase, when your sentences feel awkward, or when your motivation dips. And that's okay. That's part of the process. Every language learner, even the most fluent, has experienced these ups and downs. The key is to embrace them, to see them not as failures but as a natural part of learning. When you hit a plateau, remind yourself that this is where real growth happens. This is where your brain is quietly working, absorbing new patterns and building new connections, even if you can't see the progress just yet. And sometimes the most powerful breakthroughs come right after those difficult periods. That's why patience is so important. That's why continuing, even with small, simple habits, matters so much. Your daily practice, your willingness to keep going even when it feels hard, is like a seed you've planted. And even though you might not see results immediately, those small efforts are creating deep roots. And over time, those roots will grow into a strong foundation, a foundation that will support all the language skills you want to build. Think of each word you practice, each conversation you have, each sentence you say aloud, as one more drop of water nurturing that seed. And one day, sooner than you might expect, you'll see the first signs of new growth. Your listening will feel sharper, your speaking will feel smoother, and your ability to understand and respond will feel more natural. And as you experience this growth, your motivation will rise again, not because someone told you to keep going, but because you can see with your own eyes what's possible. That is the magic of showing up every day. That is the power of never giving up. And every small win, every tiny victory, is proof that you are becoming the confident speaker you want to be. So as you move forward, hold on to that vision, trust the process, and believe that every single effort you make, no matter how small, is taking you one step closer to your goals. And as you embrace this process, you'll discover that your relationship with English is changing too. What once felt like a chore, another task on a long list of things to do, can slowly become something you look forward to. Maybe it's those 10 minutes with a good podcast during your morning coffee, or the feeling of writing a few new sentences in your journal before bed. Maybe it's the joy of rewatching a favorite scene from a movie and realizing you understand more than you did before. As these small habits become part of your daily rhythm, you'll notice that they don't feel forced, they feel natural, and most importantly, they feel enjoyable. And that enjoyment is powerful. When you enjoy the process, you want to come back to it. And when you come back to it often, progress happens all on its own. That's why, as you continue on this journey, you'll want to find those habits and routines that truly fit your life, your personality, your interests. Learning doesn't have to look the same for everyone. Some people thrive by listening to English music or audiobooks. Others might prefer practicing short dialogues with a friend. Maybe you like writing in a diary or using a language app that tracks your progress. There's no one-size-fits-all formula, and that's the beauty of this process. You get to shape it around what feels most motivating and enjoyable to you. And when you do that, when your habits are built on things you genuinely enjoy, it becomes much easier to stick with them. Your motivation doesn't have to come from willpower alone. It comes from curiosity, creativity, and the small sparks of joy you feel along the way. So keep paying attention to what feels good. Keep experimenting with different tools and techniques, and allow yourself to grow into the language at your own pace. Every day you show up, every time you do something small to practice, you're creating a version of yourself who loves this language. And one day when you look back, you'll realize that these small habits weren't small at all. They were stepping stones, and each one helped you walk a little further. And that's exactly how you grow. Not all at once, but one small habit at a time. And as you look ahead, it's also important to appreciate how far you've already come. Sometimes we focus so much on what we haven't achieved yet that we forget to recognize the progress we've already made. Take a moment, right now, to reflect on the small wins you've had along this journey. Maybe you can recall the first time you understood a full sentence in English, or the first time you felt brave enough to speak up, even when you weren't sure your words were perfect. Those are real achievements, and they matter. Every time you listened to an English podcast, even if you caught only a few words, that was progress. Every time you practiced a short conversation with a friend, even if you paused to search for the right word, that was progress too. And every single day you decided to show up, to keep going even when it felt hard, that was you choosing to grow. That kind of commitment deserves to be celebrated. And when you appreciate your journey so far, you give yourself the strength to keep going. You remind yourself that this is possible, that you are capable, and that the process is working. That's why, as you move forward, you don't need to wait for some far-off goal to feel proud of yourself. You can be proud today, right now, and let that pride encourage you to keep going, because you truly have what it takes. And as you do, you'll keep surprising yourself. You'll look back one day and see that all these small, steady habits have built something real, something strong. And that's when you realize this is not about perfection, it's about persistence. And persistence will always take you where you want to go. And here we are, at the end of this journey together. But really, it's also just the beginning. When it comes to learning English, staying motivated when things feel difficult is one of the most powerful skills you can build. You now have tools to help you. Small daily habits that keep you moving forward, the mindset to embrace mistakes as part of the process, and the patience to appreciate your progress, one day at a time. And all of this will serve you well, not just for English, but for anything you want to achieve. If there's one thing I want you to take away today, it's this. You do not need to be perfect to keep going. You only need to be willing. Willing to practice, willing to listen, willing to speak even when it's not perfect. That willingness is your secret superpower. And if you can stay kind to yourself, if you can show up for your goals, even when it feels hard, then nothing can stop you. Every time you listen to English, every time you read or practice saying a new word aloud, every time you push yourself to speak even one sentence, you are becoming more fluent, more comfortable, more confident. And all of those small daily efforts, they add up. Imagine yourself a few months from now. Your English is smoother, your fears have faded, and you'll realize that what felt difficult at first has become natural, simply because you never gave up. That future version of you is closer than you think, so keep going, keep believing in yourself, keep showing up, and most of all, enjoy this process. Learning a language is one of the most rewarding journeys you can take. You've already proven you have the courage. Now it's just a matter of time. And as you continue, you'll discover that every challenge is an opportunity, every mistake is a lesson, and every step forward, no matter how small, is real progress. Your English is growing, your confidence is growing, and you are becoming the speaker you want to be. So don't stop. Keep going. You can do this. And one day soon, you'll look back and say to yourself, I did it. And you'll know deep down that every effort was worth it.